Okay, everyone, good morning and welcome to a meditation. Let's practice Anapanasati meditation. Mindfulness practice by following breath. Okay, you may take a seat comfortably, gently closing your eyes and your back straight. Take deep in breath, slowly let go. Do it a couple of times. And listen to this bell and relax into yourself. Okay, focus your head and relax. Relax your head. Just ask it to relax and relax your forehead and relax your eyebrows, your face, and relax your neck and shoulders. And relax your arms, fingers, and relax your chest and stomach. Then relax your legs and feet. Just simply watching what your sitting posture. Make sure you are sitting relaxed, comfortable. Now we're going to relax into ourselves and take deep breath. Slowly let go. And take deep breath mindfully and slowly let go. Take deep breath and let go your tension, stress, and take deep breath and relax. Now you may simply pay attention to this silence and enjoy the peacefulness of the silence. Now you may keep your attention close to your nose, right in front of your nose, and just follow your breath, your natural breath, and be mindful each in breath, in and out breath. Observe your breath and relax into your breath. And observe, you may simply observe your breath and just be mindful on your breath, and then feel breath become soft and short, and calm. It means you become relaxed and pay your fully awareness into your breath. Just follow in natural breath. Observe your whole in breath and whole out breath. Keep your attention close to nose and be aware of the beginning of the in breath along to the end and beginning of the out breath along to the end. By following natural breath and observe whole in breath and out breath. Now, now you relax your breath and you enjoy the relaxation of in-breath and relaxation of the out-breath. The in-breath is peaceful, calm, and relaxing. Out-breath is peaceful, calm, and relaxing. By observing each in and out breath and feel the relaxation, feel the peacefulness of breath, and be mindful, observe it, and enjoy the calmness. Now you may come back to your sitting posture and be aware of your sensation of your body. Listen to this bell. Okay, just slowly open your eyes and just stretch yourself and then turn and rub your knees, thighs, calves. Okay, just take a relax. 2 minutes.
I have to go now. Grandparents duty.
Uh,
So have a
congratulations
nice
for
day,
being an
everybody.
congratulations for being a grandfather again.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bante.
Okay, welcome and to hope to see you soon.
Have a good
Yes.
trip to New Jersey
Thank you, Michael. Thank
and
you,
enjoy
everybody.
your visit by all means.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Hey, kids.
I can see Peter on the Zoom meeting.
Peter.
Peter is the. How you doing? It's the Peter who was keep coming here for meditation. I hope you're okay.
Everybody is okay, even when we don't know it.
We have one person with meditating with us on the Facebook Live.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
good. And
great.
welcome uh, you to our group.
Dante, is anybody with you at the temple?
Yeah, we have a junior and the Anoma.
Oh, cool. Nice. So we're all over.
Yeah. Okay. um, we were discussing last week. Actually, this is the fourth fourth week of we discussing the same sutta. Mm, Today we're going to learn Buddha's austerity. Uh, Now Buddha explaining how he did, how was his mortification, self-mortification for attain to enlightenment, to practice. Mm, okay. um, the Buddha explaining these things the last 4 weeks we discussed the Buddha's supernormal powers and his knowledge skills because of the Sunakata was criticizing Buddha and Buddha then explaining Sariputta what Sunakata says it's not true. Mm, Now Buddha also know Sunakata has uh, devoted. He was devoted to a one ascetic who is practicing self-mortification, a naked ascetic.
Mm.
Now Buddha explaining. Actually, Buddha mentioned it in that the Patika Sutta to Bhagava, the Bhagava. Buddha mentioned that. This Sunakata's thing was quite influence. Everybody know that because he was keep criticizing, blaming Buddha in this city, Vesali. Then when Buddha once went to the monastery of Bhagavas, then Bhagava asked about that. Why Sunakatis keep criticizing you? And then here, now Buddha explaining how Buddha's practice about self-mortification. Buddha says, Sariputta, my self-mortification was of four type of mm, mortification, self-mortification I practiced. Buddha was ascetic, the first one. The first type of self-mortification is the Buddha was ascetic. Ascetic, not only ascetic like other ascetics. Buddha says, I was a supreme ascetic. And God, he went that practice of that ascetics into the end, extremely ascetic practice. Here, I want to say you here Brahmacharyam. Buddha practiced the Brahmacharyam, four type of self-mortification to practice Brahmacharyam. Brahmacharyam means the spirituality, practice of spirituality. Brahmacharya is about the observing precepts, practicing breathing meditation or for sublime abiding Brahma Vihara, or practicing generosity, patience, kindness, or whatever it is, the spiritual practice is called the Brahmacharya. Then Buddha, this self-mortification also one part of that Brahmacharya spiritual practice. In the Buddha's time, so many types of them. You know, the Brahmins was the clergy and religious uh, section. They were advising kings and they were conducting rituals and leading whole religious activities of the society. They are kind of powerful and very traditional and controlling whole uh, thinking system of the society. But some of them wasn't agree with them. They wasn't agree with the teaching of Brahmins because they maintain society dividing the various categories. The kings and their the rules how they rules the country, and the other part of the religious who lead in the spirituality, and the another one section the traders, business people, and farmers who is product make the production. The fourth one is the slaves who is service to the whole other types people in the society. And they were maintaining this Brahmins, this religion, Brahman religion was maintaining that teaching. But the very scholar ones, educated people, and wasn't agree those teachings and they reject those teachings and they went to practice themselves. They went to forest, start to meditate, and they call samana. Okay, samana. The Buddha mentioned himself as a samana. Buddha belonged to that types category. The Jaina, Jaina, Jainism. Even today, it is in India and even in America, some Jaina temples. And Jainism, and they also samana. They are not the Brahmins. They reject the Brahmanism and they develop their own spiritual practice. And some other teachers in the Buddha's time, they were teaching in different teachings, their own teachings. Makkali, Gosala, Ajita Kesakambali, Pakuda Kachayana, Sanjay Bellatiputta. Those are the very famous teachers in the Buddha's time. Those they all call samana. And Buddha also, a samana, start to practice a self-mortification. And Buddha mentioned here he was the as was practice austerity and went it to it into the end, a supreme practice. And Parama Luko, and Buddha used to live roughly. mm, Bante Bhikkhu Bodhi translate it to cause. And Buddha started to practice cause and went it to end, an extremely cause and supreme cause, and practice very roughly. And disgust at the sin, disgust at the sin, and went extreme practice of that disgusting about sins, scrupulous. And Buddha not Buddha actually, Siddhartha, and he started to practice scrupulous and went into extremely practice it and went into end or extreme end of that practice. And Buddha started to become seclusion, and he was secluded himself, and when it supremely became secluded person. And these are the four types of practicing. And now he Buddha explaining how was his practice. And Buddha says he was the naked ascetic, didn't wear any clothes, was naked ascetic. And then he used to having a weird behavior, was naked, and after eating and start to lick his hands. When someone asked him to come for food, and Buddha didn't go accept or take the food, they didn't accept that food. If someone asked him to stop for giving food, and he didn't stop to taking food because he wanted to be self mortify himself. He didn't accept that. When someone asked him to come and didn't go. When someone asked him to stop for food and he didn't stop. When someone prepared for food for himself and he didn't accept because the food prepared for himself. And when someone invite him for food to come his home to accept food and he didn't accept the invitation. In this way, and he want to not to eat. He want to not eat, not because he want to self demortify himself, torture himself. Then he didn't accept. And when someone asked him to come or stuff or inviting him and prepare for him, and he didn't accept any kind of those food. When someone gave him food from the pot, and he didn't accept. When someone gave him food from the bowl, and he didn't accept. And when someone um, give him to a threshold, threshold, um, the enter into the house. There's a what's the main door. When someone gave him food at the main door threshold, and he didn't accept. And when someone given him the food in the pens, and the in front of the house has the pens for protection, like a wall, a pens. When someone given food at the pens and he didn't accept. And when someone given him food near to the um, some mortar, in the ancient time, people using kind of um, instrument mortar. Yeah, right. Grind the things. When someone given him the food and near to that, and he didn't accept. Across the stick or across the it's a pestle, right? Pestle mortar. And when the two people and eating together, and then he come to food to collect food, beg food, and when one of them giving him food and he didn't accept because both are eating, he don't want to interrupt, and he didn't accept. And if the giver is the pregnant woman and he didn't accept, because when pregnant woman giving food and didn't accept because he thought this is disturbing to the baby. When the woman feeding her child, feeding, and he didn't accept that woman food because he thought it's disturbing to the child. You see, this is called extreme and supreme, um, not harming or disturbing to anyone. This is spiritual practice, but it's very extreme. If someone, the woman giver, the woman among the men, between the men, and she come from the men, and then he didn't accept the food because he thought it's interrupting the woman enjoying or staying with the men, and he didn't want to bother that, and he didn't accept the food from that moment. And the food was um, prepared by collecting donation by others, and thus food for distribution, a free distribution, is food already prepared for giving to the ascetics, and he didn't accept that kind of food either because he want to be um, torture himself. When someone giving him food nearby to the dog, when someone giving him food, then the nearby dog, and he didn't accept because he thought if I take food, the dog's going to miss the food. It's better to go into the dog. Then he don't want to take food when the dog over there. He didn't accept that kind of food when the dog around. You see how he torturing himself. And when someone giving him food, there are um, many flies, many flies around there, gathering there, and he didn't accept. And he thought this food should go to the flies. They eat in them. They eat in them. He don't want to take those kind of food because he thought he's bothering and interrupting the flies' food. And he didn't accept fish, and didn't accept meat, and didn't accept alcohol, and any kind of uh, brewer drink with mixed with alcohol or beer or something like that, liquor, wines, or anything he didn't accept. You see, and once he start to go to just only to one house to collect food, and he just satisfied only one handful food, just handful food, one handful food from the one house. And sometimes he went to two houses and satisfied with two handful food, and went to three houses and satisfied with three handful food, until to seven houses and satisfied with seven handful food. sometimes he just satisfy one meal for one day and one meal for 2 days and one meal for 3 days and just 3 days only one meal and one meal for 4 days, one meal for 5 days and didn't eat anything and one meal and he maintained his life for 5 days and one meal for 6 days until to a one meal for 7 days. You see how torture himself, how worse is self mortification. So hard, right? So hard, extremely hard. It's not easy to do. We are satisfied for 3 meals for a day, right? And sometimes it's become four meals, 5 meals, and very often, right? Very often, and many drinks, coffee, tea, and many drinks, juice, right? Yeah, he's surviving, and he explained in here how difficult was that. This is the very regular practice in India those days because they believe they believe by practicing this self mortification and they can become enlightened by torturing themselves and they reduce the bad karma and they had done. And after Buddha's enlightenment, Buddha start to teach that it is useless, it's not right and correct. And Buddha went to those practitioners and asked, do you know how much you have now uh, faded away of your bad karma? And do you exactly know you have done that type of bad karma and you know by practicing this how much you had faded away? Nobody don't know. And Buddha explained it is not right thing. Especially Jainism. Jainism taught this kind of teachings to become purified, fading away whole bad karma. That's the regular belief on those days, and Buddha start to practice. And he said, finally, the one meal for 15 days. Then he start to eat the leaves of the trees. Now he now taking food and just start to eat the leaves of the food of the trees and start to eat uh, kind of gum of the trees, some gums of the trees, and he start to eat that. And then he start to eat some kind of um, animals skin dried after dried that people used to wear, right? Animal skin making it dry and prepare them to wear, and he started to eat them and he start to eat the cow dung. Cow dung, you see, can we do that? We can do that, but he did it. He start to eat cow dung and some roots of the trees, some roots of the trees, and finally, and he start to eat the fruit has fallen. He didn't catch up from the tree, and he just pick up from the ground there's some fruit. Okay, and he start to wear the robes, kind of robes. Um, some robes he pick up from the clothes, pick up from the charnel ground, wrap the dead bodies, and he collect that the clothes from the dead bodies. And some clothes is already throw away on the ground in the dirty places, and he pick up those kind of clothes and start to wear them. Hmm? Now he start wearing the clothes, not the proper clothes, and he pick up the clothes from the charnel ground, wrap the dead bodies, and some of them already burn, half of them burn and torn and dirty, and some clothes throw away all into the dirty places onto the ground, and he collect them. Now he start to wearing not only one practice, he keep practicing many ways. And he used to be a naked. Now he Buddha says, and he used to wear a kind of piece of clothes. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, they are. Yeah, naked. In the Buddha's time, there was two type of Jaina practitioners. Yeah, one is completely naked, and some of them start, yeah, just a piece of white clothes. And then Buddha start to use the grasses, collecting grasses, and preparing kind of dresses to cover himself, and the some layers of the trees, split bark, and start to wear, and then the wings of the owls, birds, and start to wear that, and many things. Now he start to pull out his hair, pull out his beard, not cut, and start to what's that take out? Huh? Yeah, removing himself the hair, not cutting, and start to pull it out. Even today, in the Buddha's time, in the Jaina practitioners, when they become a Jaina practitioner, and now we cut our hair to make it both. But the he Buddha himself start to pull it out. Then blood come. Is then bloody head because of this start to throw them away. They pull out the hairs. Then refuse the seats, not seated, not used to chair to sit, and start to like squatting, and stay in bending knees, and like a frog, and you start to walk like that. Um, and he stopped using water. Um, And now he took 3 baths for a day in the morning, day, and evening. Because in those days, people going to the Ganges River to take a bath, and they think they become purified by having a birth, bathing in the from the river. Even today, there's a big ceremony in India. What's that called? Everybody get together and get into the Ganges River and take a bath, and they become purified. In Christianity, even they get taken a bath, right? Baptized. It's baptized. Mm. But in India, those days, there are very certain special places in the Ganges River, and thus Brahmins maintain that place. And when someone want to become pure one, and take him to the river and making a bathe in him, and they think they become purified because there's a holy river like holy water. Lately, Buddha said, if it is happened, if it is true, and all the turtles and fishes in the river must be very pure ones. It's never happened. But those days, they believe that. Right? Water can purify the people. It doesn't. But Buddha did this. Siddhartha did him. Um, he practiced that, and Buddha says this was my asceticism, the practice of austerity and supreme austerity. Now, now he start to his second type of practice of brahmacharya, very rough living, a course. Now he start to using water, never bathing, and then all the dust start to uh, on his body already, many layers of the dust. Mm, week by week, month by month, and year by year, he didn't use water, didn't take a bath. Now his body already many layers of the dirt and dust, like a pale moon ebony tree. There are some kind of trees. Their skin has so many layers, already removing some parts of the layers of the tree, and can see it's some layers of the tree already moving, and something like that. His body can see like already it's visible. Some layers of the dirt is visible, like that type of tree. And Buddha says he didn't have even a thought to remove them. Buddha says I even didn't have a thought an idea to remove them, and I even didn't have ideas someone come and remove my dirt, and he keep holding them in the body. And Buddha said once when he rub his head, then hair is moving and come to his hand. When he rub his body, and the hair is come to his hand. You see how difficult uh, versus practice. Now Buddha says, now he's disgusting about the sins. This was like this. And Buddha mindfully keep walking forward and mindfully keep walking on the backward. Then he had the mercy, compassion, kindness even to the drop of water. Now you start to think his compassion even to the drop of water. And when he walked, and he was very careful to keep his the feet on the ground, not to harm any sentient beings, because they believe, even in the Jainism, in the Buddha's time, they use kind of broom to clear the road when they walk, and they keep cleaning the road and walk because they don't want to step on in the creatures, invisible creatures, tiny creatures, right? And they think it's a killing them. It's a killing of them. Then even Jaina followers and keep cleaning the road before they walking, and they use some kind of strainer to take the water, strainer, and put strainer again in the water, because they actually there are tiny creatures in the water. And even in Buddhist temple in Sri Lanka, we using a strainer take water because we know there's a tiny creatures on the water, and they are very extreme. The Jainism, they go in very extreme, but Buddha didn't mention that if we can live in that way, right? Where when we walk, we keep cleaning the road wherever we go. It's not practical. If you don't have idea to kill any living beings, that's fine. Um, the another way is these kind of invisible living beings, not sure they are exactly the sentient beings or any kind of some kind of other, uh, but they are exactly they have life, but not sure they have the consciousness or something like that. But here the Buddha says he had the compassion and sympathy even to the drop of water, and when he walked, and he was very careful not to harm anyone. And then Buddha start to go into, now is explaining his seclusion, being himself, stay away from the people. And Buddha says Buddha went to the forest, and deep in the forest, into the deep of the forest, nobody. If he accidentally see any cowherd, the shepherd or cowherd come into the forest, when he hear their sounds, and he start run into the forest. He didn't, and Buddha says, I didn't want to see them, and I even didn't wanted to they see me, and start to run away. Likewise, a deer. When the deer see the hunter, and deer start to run into the forest. Likewise, Buddha start to run into the deep into the forest when he hear any sound of humans, and he was completely away from the human beings, was alone himself in the deep forest. when some women going to the forest to collect some dry woods to people in those days didn't have the electricity, right? People used to drive the fire to cook in for everything. And some women going to the forest to collect the dry wood. And when Siddhartha hear their sounds and he start run into the forest. He wasn't stay to anyone to visible. And then Buddha says he went to forest, ground to ground, like very far in the forest. Okay. If you have any question, you can ask me, okay? Now, Buddha explaining his practice. Now he went to uh, the there's the cows, a herd of cows, right? It's a bunch of cows. When the cow herd taking the male cows away, and there's the female cows with their babies, calves, and feeding the cows. And then the Siddhartha start to walk into them with four legs and two hands, right? Like the cattle, like a baby cow, and he walked into that cows and start to suck the cow's milk, right? And he suck and he drink the cow milk himself, like cows, baby cow, and he start to eat the baby's cow dung. The cows, because he thought the big cows, cow dung is kind of dry, not good, nutritious, and he thought the baby cow's dung is a nutritious, and he started to eat the cow dung of the babies because it's soft and the nutrients. Even today in India, the people drink the urines of the cow's urine. You know that? Oh, even today they drink it. They think it's a medicine. And Buddha also has mentioned we can use the urine of the cows as a medicine. We can mix with some other things. It's a medicine. You see how was the Buddha sacrifice to be enlightened? Right, Michael? You listening? Hello?
Yes, Bante, I am here,
Okay,
but I'm muted because I have noise in the room.
okay.
All right. Hmm.
Then Siddhartha y- start to drink the cow milk by sucking himself from the cow's udder, and he start to eat the baby cow's cow dung. And Siddhartha says, finally, I start to drink my own urine, and start to eat my own uh, excrement. Excrement. That's how he survived by eating his own excrement and drinking his own urine. This is the unbelievable thing he did. This is his self-mortification. And Buddha mentioned here, this was my weird eating way of eating. This is my eating system was very weird now. To start to sucking milk from the cows, start to eat of the cow dung, and start his own uh, excrement. It was weird, and Buddha mentioned himself.
Okay.
Now Buddha start to go into another forest, very
Mm.
a fearful forest, dangerous forest, scary forest, huge forest, nobody in there, and he went to into that deep into that forest.
Mm.
And Buddha mentioned here, who is very ordinary, not enlightened, who is with lust, greed, and delusion and hate, they cannot survive like in that forest because he's alone. They cannot survive in that forest because of they are ordinary. They have lust, hate, and delusion. But Buddha still have that his defilements. But he was surviving in that forest. But it's scary. Now he himself was live there. Now um, winter in the winter season, and he come at night, very open area with he's naked and stay in the whole night in the open area in the winter, right? And we stay in the home, turn on the heater, and with covering with many layers, right? But Buddha himself in the winter, even in the winter, very seriously cold weather. There are 8 days, 8 days of the very cold season. And in that time, he was in the open area in naked and whole night. And the daytime in the forest, in the forest.
Mm.
And Buddha mentioned again in the summer, hot weather, now hot weather, in the hot season, and 8 days of the hot season, very hot, and he stay in the open area in naked. You see how torturing himself?
Mm.
And a night in the forest,
Mm.
he torturing himself. I think in this sutta, I remember maybe it was in this sutta, in the summer, and he put a fire for direction, and he was in the middle.
Mm.
In the summer, very hot weather, and he even burned the fire around him and stay in the middle. He torturing himself to be enlightened. This whole all effort for what? What do you think? For what?
Mm. He wants to become
Yeah,
enlightened.
he want to become a Buddha. He want to become enlightened. That's why he was practicing those things. Because those days they believe that by practicing self mortification, it's called Attakila Matanu Yoga.
Mm.
Attakila Matanu Yoga. When Buddha attained to Buddhahood, and he gave his first Dhamma talk, and Buddha rejected this practice. Don't do this.
Mm. The Buddha practiced extreme austerities
Right.
so that we don't have to.
Don't have to do that.
So we do not have to do that. because we have the middle way.
Right. Buddha's first, the right, Buddha's middle way, Buddha finally found the way of enlightenment. But in the before his Buddhahood, everybody believed if someone
Mm,
want to be enlightened or Buddha, if someone want to be a very pure one, have to practice Attakila Yoga, self-mortification, torturing themselves and get rid of all the bad and
mm,
impurities and become pure. And Buddha attained to Buddhahood not by this self-mortification and the middle path, by practicing developing middle way, and he start to teach. His when he's first teaching, and he said, "Don't do this. This is hurting, and this is useless."
mm,
Um.
yeah, sorry. Whoops. Okay.
Okay. Any question if you have before we're going to? I'm going to finish this sutta next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going
Um,
to finish this sutta next week. Now already fourth week.
Bante, I have a question, but it does not relate to the sutta. In other words, it's about a different topic. Recently, the Supreme Court of the United States took a very strong law that New York State had tried to pass against using guns and having guns and showing guns in the streets of New York State.
Mm,
So the law that was passed was very strong about gun control, right?
mm,
But the Supreme Court made it much weaker so that a person, for example, could carry a gun concealed, in other words, hidden,
mm.
like under his belt or something like that. So this we think is a very bad thing because we have so many people who are being killed.
Mm.
So, what is a Buddhist to say? What is a Buddhist to do? What is a Buddhist to think about that?
The using guns, right?
Well, the Supreme Court made it impossible for New York State to pass a very strong law forbidding guns.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It's politics, Bante. It's a political issue, but
Yeah.
it's also a human issue. And how are we to approach it as Buddhists? Many people are also very upset about the fact that now in 27 states,
Mm,
it will be illegal for a woman to have an abortion.
mm,
And in while before,
mm,
uh, it was federal law. In other words, it was law throughout the United States that a woman could have an abortion if she wanted to. So this is a new development, right?
mm.
What should a Buddhist do? What should a Buddhist think
About the abortion,
about know about the law,
the law about this.
the new law, or the new ruling?
Yeah, just very complicated.
Well,
Especially for the guns, actually we're not supposed to use guns or shelling guns. It's not it's harm. It's a
yeah,
harming
but
to harming thing. It could
yeah,
harm anyone, kill anyone. Then we're not supposed to, according to who's practicing his spiritual life, and he not
yeah,
able to hurt anyone or kill anyone. Then have to
no,
avoid the guns.
right,
Even the selling guns is not a good job, good business.
mm,
Selling guns, selling poisons, selling the animals for killing, um,
mm,
and alcohol, drugs. It's not good business to live for spiritual, to practice spirituality. That's not supposed to do.
that's right.
Yeah.
But in this country, we most people are not Buddhists, and so we have how can I say this? Many people want to react, right,
Mm.
to make the laws stronger, but the Supreme Court is making that impossible.
Mm.
So this is the political situation.
This is the problem in America. They want to keep the guns,
That's right.
guns possible to everyone.
So how do we respond? How do we react? What do we do?
It doesn't matter whatever we can't actually. That's our responsibility. We force government to do right thing. But if the
Yes.
government doesn't do that, it's better
Mhm.
to stay away from by using ourselves. We don't want to sell in them or we don't want to use them. That's what we can do. Um, but as the citizens, and we can uh, suggest to the government to do right thing.
Yeah. What if the government does not do the right thing?
I think the American government and society is still demanding their very old way. The
Yes.
in the old time, this was a completely whole countries of war, fighting each other,
Right.
killing each other, and
Yeah.
everybody, see England's, uh, France, France people from France, and
Yeah.
Spain, and all over
Mm.
the world, everybody was here, and they all want
Mm.
to take the part of the country, and they were fighting, right?
Yes. That's
Then,
right.
using guns is very important those days, but now it's not.
Mm. Right. I understand. Thank you, Bante.
Yeah, now we uh, want to keep in selling guns and using guns. It's not the it's not necessary now. It's not need because everybody's
Yeah.
peace is already here. Now guns lost the peace, lose the
Mm.
yeah,
Yes.
losing the peace. We can see the young people killing many people. They attack students in the schools, teachers,
That's right.
and supermarkets. They're using guns to kill. Mm. Now it's going to some kind of mental disability people, not a very healthy people.
That's true.
The healthy people don't use guns much, right?
No, this is true.
Yeah. Yes.
But the Buddha said that we're all unhealthy people until we become arhats. So we want. I like to remember that unhealthy is a degree. We have one. We have very unhealthy people, and we have people who are less unhealthy. But until we become arhants, we don't have a good. We don't have the perfect mind, the healthy mind. So we have to keep working. Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to finish this sutta next week.
Yes.
Um, it's a very long sutta, actually. It's a shocking, right? The practice of
Yes.
Siddhartha's practice to attain to enlightenment. It's very. Finally, we can see in the later he's explaining how was this extreme practice of Attakila Matan Yoga self mortification. We can imagine. We can't imagine. This was his dedication to attain to enlightenment, to attain to Buddhahood. finally he did, and he taught us this beautiful the teaching, awakening teaching. Okay, then no more questions. I'm going to transfer merits to the departed ones. Okay, let's transfer the merits to departed ones and ghosts and gods. May all sentient beings share these merits. By sharing these merits, may they all be born in the happy realms and go to good destination and attain to the enlightenment. By the power of these merits and by the blessings of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, you may live happily, peacefully, without any afflictions, and finally may we all be able to attain to enlightenment. Akasattha Chibummattha Deva Naga Mahidika Punyantang Anumoditva Chirang Rakkantu Sasanang Chirang Rakkantu Desanang Chirang Rakkantu Mamparang Sabbhitiyo Vivajjantu Sabbarogo Vinasatu Mate Bhavatvantarayo Sukhi Digayuko Bhava Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhan Bhavena Sabba Dhamman Bhavena Sabba Sanghan Bhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, Bante. Thank you, Bante.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Bante.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you. See you next week.
See you next
Thank you,
week.
Bante.
And
Bye-bye.
read the sutta, okay?
Absolutely. Okay. And if you read the sutta, read it again. Okay.